So how many people have seen this cartoon-looking villain guy right here? I think they call him Crypto Luigi sometimes. Yes, no, I feel like you would probably remember it if you did, but a whole lot more of you might see him around on the platform in the near future because his company, Atlas Earth, of which he is the marketing director, also known as Atlas Reality, is doing a pretty heavy advertising push here on YouTube. If you look at the Google Ads Transparency Center, you can see the campaigns that they're currently running, which is 12 of them, with about 3 to 5 variations each. But the important part is that they talk about this product as if it's a mechanism to earn, quote, money on the side or money in real life, end quote. On its face, there's nothing wrong with that. Plenty of applications and software programs are designed to let people earn small bits of income here and there or gamify different tasks. But this one in particular, Atlas Earth, more so than probably any other similar type of game I've ever seen in my life, is a cleverly designed mechanism that takes regular people and tricks them into becoming what I call advertisement slaves. Hidden behind a thin veneer of altruistic reward systems, Atlas Earth is actually a shockingly effective idiot trap, stealing and monetizing what is perhaps the most valuable and irreplaceable thing that any person could ever have, which is time. Let's get into it. This right here is Atlas Earth, obviously, which is self-described as a digital layer of the real world where virtual real estate earns you cash back, end quote. It's been operating for a number of years now, proudly boasting over $3 million of payouts in some of their advertising. But when you peel back the layers, it very quickly becomes obvious that pursuing this game, with air quotes there, not to overuse the phrase here, is self-inflicted advertisement slavery. Let me explain. It's a relatively simple overall premise behind the veil of gamified rewards, but here's the gist of it. After downloading the application, players get to purchase one free plot of land, which is a 30-foot by 30-foot geosynced square on a digital map. After purchase, this plot of land, this digital land, if you will, as well as whatever plots you end up earning or purchasing afterwards, earns you rent per second every second of every day. In theory, that sounds promising, and they lean into this concept heavily in the advertising. But if you start running numbers, the picture necessarily changes. For starters, the amount of rent that you earn is tied to rarity, but the majority of what you'll receive are common parcels to begin with, which have a return of 0.00000000011, so essentially nothing. However, that gets paid to you per second, which sounds intriguing. Let's do some overly simplified napkin math. When you start the game, you get one piece of land for free. After that, it costs 100 Atlas bucks to get another one. Well, the way that you get more Atlas bucks, among all sorts of little gamified giveaways and surveys to complete, or shopping rewards, bonuses with partnered vendors, things like that, the primary way to do it for most people is watching ads. Every 20 minutes, you can watch one advertisement, and that advertisement gives you 2 Atlas bucks. Now, these ads are sometimes 20 seconds long or 40 seconds long, but the majority of the ones that I've seen while researching the topic are from similar applications, that is play-to-earn applications where you supposedly make money, and they're 60 seconds long. This means 30 to 50 minutes of ads spread across about 17 hours. You can watch 3 of them per hour if you do it right off of cooldown every single time it's available, and after that time investment, you can buy a single plot of land. Cool, sounds good. Now let's calculate what that land plot most likely yields. Here's an on-screen breakdown for those that want to see it. Per minute, per hour, per day, and per year. There's a lot of zeros, so I'm not going to say them all. However, at the bottom here, you'll notice one final step in the process, which is a 30x multiple, including that 30x multiplier, which I'll talk about in just a second. It's pretty important. One parcel earns roughly $1 per year, which is theoretically repeatable. If you spend a few hours watching ads across several days, you would have maybe 8 land tiles or 10 or 12, which means $8 or $10 or $12 per year instead of 1, which understandably offers up the illusion of a decent investment. Just one problem. In order to get that all-important 30x multiplier, which is included in every single calculation that any proponent of this game will ever show to you, in order to activate it, you have to do something very specific, which is watch a 60-second advertisement one time every single hour. If you do this, that is, watch the 60-second ad and receive a 30 times multiplying rent boost, right, for that hour, you can keep doing it for up to 6 times consecutively, thereby having a 6-hour boost period, which needs to be recharged every 6 hours, forever. It sounds complicated, right? And that's because it is, but the simplified math is that in order for someone to earn $1 from one parcel of land across a full year, they would need to watch 24 ads per day 84 ads per week, 336 advertisements per month, which is then over 4,000 ads per year. That's 4,000 advertisements, roughly 1 minute long each, from what I've seen, which would be about 67 hours of time spent watching ads on your phone to earn $1 from one parcel of land. But the crazy thing is, if that sounds ridiculous, it gets infinitely worse, like way, way, way worse. Here's the catch. Once again, on the surface, that doesn't seem like a terrible value proposition necessarily, because you could theoretically scale that number to something much more reasonable. Remember, watching those hours upon hours of advertisements would have exponentially higher returns based on the amount of land that you have. So if you had 100 parcels instead of one, those 60 plus hours of ad watching wouldn't pay you a penny per hour. They'd probably pay you over $1 per hour. But there is a very specific aspect of Atlas Earth's business model that we need to clarify right now. According to a blog post on the Atlas Reality support page, in order to avoid being a literal Ponzi scheme, which means taking money from one investor to pay out the earnings of another investor, Atlas Earth claims that they only use money from advertisers in order to pay their players. This matters a lot because if true, while it does technically avoid the pitfall of being an actual Ponzi scheme, it changes the way that you have to run the business. Here's what I mean. In another Atlas Reality blog post, we can see the boosting rates that they allow in different countries, but the thing that immediately jumps out is that if you have more than 150 parcels of land, you no longer receive a 30x multiplier for the ads that you watch. Suddenly, as soon as you cross that 150 parcel threshold, you only get a 20x boost. This continues down the line, dramatically decreasing the more land that you own, all the way down to just double, at or beyond 1,500 total tiles. And the purpose behind that, putting it simply, is solvency. The way that you make money is by watching ads, tons of them, over and over and over again. Atlas Reality, therefore, must always be earning more money from advertisements compared to the payouts being given to players. So if they actually continued awarding decent bonuses in a way that would make the concept legitimately valuable for most players, they would quickly begin paying out more money than they take in. If, hypothetically, everyone using the application, let's say tomorrow, stopped watching any ads, but continued collecting rent, the company would quickly fall apart, obviously. So they systematically decrease the amount that you can earn, offsetting any potential benefit deliberately, because the purpose of this application is not to return value, it's to trick people into becoming ad slaves. Here's another way of looking at it. As the community for this game has rapidly grown, tricked into spending a disproportionate amount of their lives and money, wasted in front of a tiny screen for fractions of a penny in the process, some of those community members have maximized the amount of earnings that they can get. There's all sorts of dedicated guide material, like in-depth stuff, by the way, for how to optimally approach the game, with most of that material outright acknowledging that you actually don't even want to surpass 150 tiles. If you do, your earnings decrease for a substantial amount of time, before once again recovering afterward. But even then, as the boosting rates continue to fall, you're never actually growing at a proportional rate. For example here, the maximum amount that you could earn from 150 tiles would be roughly $200 per year. But the maximum amount that you can earn from 1,500 tiles is about $500. If earnings were exponential, as a lot of these community members like to say, or even just linear for that matter, you should be earning well over $2,000 per year with 1,500 tiles. But instead, you earn less than a quarter of that, because the application is not about passive income. It's about converting people into ad slaves. Remember, there's an all-encompassing critical component of this that has to be considered every single time we talk about these earnings figures, which is that every single one of these possible figures assumes that the player is watching thousands and thousands of ads per year on a 6-hour rolling timer, which is dozens of hours spread across your day in such a way that you can't even sleep a full night, okay? These maximum figures require you to be waking up immediately and watching ads, while you spend your lunch break watching ads, and watch more of them right before bed as you brush your teeth, every day of every week for 365 days a year, oftentimes even waking up in the middle of the night to watch ads and recharge your bonuses. That's already insane, like just on its face, completely insane, but let's do an even better demonstration. So far, I've only talked about time, not money, although time is obviously much more important than money. The time that you invest in this game is quite literally never worth the payout, point blank, period, ever. But what about if you actually pay for the tiles? Yeah, that's even worse. A single tile of land would cost you roughly $5, which is 100 Atlas bucks. But the community has this special little calculator that they made. It's super in-depth, by the way, so we don't even really have to guess. I'm going to gloss over some stuff here because there's so many little different systems and features to mask the predatory nature of the app that there's always going to be a particular bonus or concept or wheel spin, etc., that I fail to talk about. But let's use the community's own calculator for this and plug in a hypothetical investment of $1,000. If you follow along with the statistical rarity curve, which is 50% common, 30% rare, 15% epic, and 5% legendary, each with their own escalating values in rent. If you assume those numbers to be accurate, a $1,000 investment would get you roughly 242 tiles. Now, once again, assuming that you spent 60 plus hours of your time that year clicking and watching ads continuously, every 6 hours of every day like clockwork, this $1,000 investment would then earn you $220 back. This means that over the course of 5 years, thereby spending well over 300 hours watching advertisements, which is in excess of 14 full 24-hour days, over the course of 5 years, you would finally break even and then earn about $100. That may sound fine. Who am I kidding? No, it doesn't. 5 years and 300 hours of work to earn $100 isn't fine. It's brain damage. But I'm trying to be nice here because apparently millions of people play this shit and waste their money. It may sound nice just to be nice to people, but let's then compare it to an average high-yield savings account. $1,000 at 4.5% APY with monthly compounding interest across 60 months, which is 5 years, would give you back about $254 on top of the $1,000 that you put in to begin with. That's more than twice as much as Atlas Earth just by putting your money in a fucking bank. And you would earn that money without watching tens of thousands of advertisements. I'm trying really, really hard to be considerate, but anyone playing this game, spending their time and their money inside this ecosystem is brain dead. You could quite literally set up a lemonade stand on the side of the road and earn orders of magnitude more money than Atlas Earth could ever or will ever pay you for the proportional time investment. How about this? A lot of times people express that I criticize without providing solutions, so here's a solution. I understand that passive income applications are extremely appealing. There's a reason that so many people flock to them. I know that there's a lot of people out there who could use a few dollars a week or even per month, and it can make a huge tangible difference to them. So how about this? This right here is an application called HoneyGain. The way it works is by selling your excess internet bandwidth so that companies can do things like price comparison, advertising verification, and market research. Think of the airline industry as an example. If you want to book a flight, there's a whole bunch of competing carriers and websites, but the way that they compete with each other is to offer lower prices, which means scouting each other in order for them to know what their competitors are charging on different sites in different regions, etc. So in order to get that information, they use a service like HoneyGain, which then disperses some of the money that they pay back to you. It's pretty simple, honestly. You install it on whatever devices you have. A few is ideal. And then you get paid based on usage. You don't have to watch thousands of ads, and you can get enough money easily to cover your streaming services or, I don't know. Honestly, nothing crazy, okay? But it works in the background and pays out predictably. I'll put a link down below to it where you can get a special sign-up bonus, I guess. But just to be clear, I get a bonus too if you use that link. But when I sit here thinking about the unfortunate vulnerability of so many people when it comes to a supposed game like Atlas Earth, I figured this is a holistically superior method of making minor passive income without sacrificing hundreds and hundreds of hours of your time as an ad slave. Bottom line, Atlas Earth is currently doing a massive YouTube advertising push. If you didn't see the ads already now, you probably will in the future, which is clearly working, by the way. Okay, they have the user base. It's a proven concept now. People do fall for it. I have no doubt whatsoever that we'll see a bunch of screeching comments down below about people that only do it on the side, and I made $400 as a free-to-play player over the past 13 or 18 months, or whatever it is, right? They're all going to have their own story. But the reality is that you could make more money doing literally anything else in the entire world for those 200 or 300 or 500 hours. The math is all highly flexible. Please do keep that in mind because they have all sorts of little gamified events and special bonuses and other, daily incentives to keep people on the hamster wheel of never-ending advertisement watching. But the saddest thing about all of it is that a lot of the people, like most of them actually, that are stuck in this world, they'll incessantly tell you that it's free, They'll say, I earned $200 for nothing, or look at my $400 and I got this for free. But the insidious truth is that it did have a cost. It cost them 76 or 120 or 500 hours of their life watching mobile game ads on their phone screen and waking up at 3 a.m. to watch even more and more and more to make sure their little rent bonus doesn't expire. That is a cost. Whether or not you're able to see it, that is a cost. Treating this as any sort of viable or serious investment is unthinkably stupid. Treating this as a fun hobby is a little bit more defensible, maybe, but that assumes that your version of fun is to be a mindless, barely human drone who sits there watching advertisements for a significant portion of their life for the direct benefit of someone else. I'm sure we'll get some entertainment in the comment section on that topic as people get defensive. That's it though. If you want to support the channel, check out the links down below. A special VPN deal if you need one. A link to Honeygain, obviously much easier to make, a few bucks a week with that than it is with something like Atlas Earth. Locals and Patreon, etc., but I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching. Question everything, especially when you see advertisements for a virtual reality, digital real estate, Atlas Earth style metaverse, right? Question the shit out of that one and have a nice night.